So alliance-focused training, and the way we've primarily done it is as a form of group supervision or group consultation. So a group of, maybe 4 or 5 trainees, and we've been doing it with 2 co-leaders. We found it's a really nice way to do it. And
how big are the groups?
So if we've got 4 or 5 trainees plus 2 co-leaders, let's say.
Oh, 4. Okay, got it.
So ideally, everybody's videotaping their therapy sessions and can bring session video, but sometimes people are in places where that's not possible. So if you can't bring video, then we might ask you to tell us in as rich a way as you can. And we use a lot of role plays. The way a meeting might look is we'll start with a mindfulness exercise, because we think mindfulness really fosters the right kind of headspace for doing this work, where you're really open and curious and non-judgmental and self-compassionate. So we'll start with that, and then figure out who's going to present. They'll show video or describe a challenging moment. So it's not a place to come and show off about, it's not your highlight reel time. It's bring the place where you felt stuck, place that was really hard. And so this is where it's really important that the space feels like a safe place to bring these moments. So it's really important that the co-leaders foster a safe environment with good group cohesion. So bring that difficult moment, and we'll try to so what's hard for you? What's the place you're getting stuck? What's your struggle, for the therapist to identify that? And then we'll look for an opportunity to do some kind of experiential work with that. It might be just helping you, like a focusing exercise to help the therapist really understand what was going on for them in that moment. It might be a role play where they play out a conversation with their patient, and they could play their patient, like I did in my training experience. It was so helpful playing my patient. Or you could play yourself and somebody else in the group could play the patient. Or you could play both parts and move back and forth between the chairs. Sometimes in the process of exploring that, we'll realize there's some kind of inner struggle for the therapist. Like, do I do this or do I do that? Or I'm trying to do this, but I feel like I'm so ineffective. And you hear their kind of inner critical voice coming out. And we might shift a role play to being 2 parts of the therapist, kind of having a conversation, like your internal dialogue. And what we're trying to do here is just increase awareness of what's going on. And as you become more aware of what's happening, places where you felt stuck, you start to get unstuck. You start to see possibilities you didn't see before. You might come across something that you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to say that to my patient in the next session. That could happen, but that's not necessarily the aim. Like, we're not having them rehearse what they're going to do. It's more like helping them see it differently, so they're now ready to go into their next session and roll with whatever happens, right? They're like feeling more capable and seeing more avenues that they could take the next time they meet.
Do you think that in going through this process that the therapists are better able to, in the moment, in session the following week or month or whatever, able to identify the ruptures as they're happening?
That is a hope, and we're always, like, with our research, trying to get better and closer to actually being able to, like, say that that's definitely happening, right? To use the right measures to get at that. But yes, I think with recognizing ruptures, there's both people sort of developing the skills to kind of see it. And this is where things like, oh, there's a withdrawal, there's a confrontation, those concepts can be helpful. So recognizing those markers, but then also, this is a big thing in AFT, is your own sort of internal sense that something's going on. So the more I'm able to realize what I'm feeling, then I can pick up on, something's off. Like, that might be the earliest warning signal of a rupture. I feel a little uncomfortable or anxious or disconnected or, whatever it is. So yeah, that's definitely a goal of the training.
This is what I was sort of preparing for this and thinking about this. That's exactly what came to my mind, is that it's that feeling, right? And that, like, and of course, this is just based on what was happening in my head, so I could be terrible at it. But it's like that feeling is the trigger of, like, there's something going on here to pay attention to, and I need to quickly make some sense of it. I don't mean literally to fully interpret it, but like bring it into the room. Is it my own anxiety about something that, some sort of, kind of countertransferency kind of a thing that I don't need to verbalize it, but I need to think about, that intuition to, like, not talk about this thing is probably wrong. You know, like that sort of stuff. So I was thinking about that in terms of those, like, that feeling is what, you know, gets you going, you know, in your head very quickly, like, what's going on here? What should I do about it?
Well, and maybe what's going on here, I think we can linger there for a long time, actually, because the what do I do about it might bring with it a sense of pressure. So,
Right.
yeah, so I'm thinking it's more like, okay, let's just lean. I'm really curious. Let's lean into
Mm-hmm.
that and kind of follow that curiosity.
Right. Say more about that.
Well, I think part of what I think happened, what we hope to do in AFT, one of my colleagues referred to it as sort of destigmatizing ruptures. So therapists may come in thinking, okay, ruptures are bad and scary, and I should avoid them at all costs. And if they happen, it's like a fire. I've got to put out immediately. And we're trying to say these are part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
It's inevitable that ruptures will occur. I'm not saying that every single rupture that occurs is inevitable, because I think there's some things we shouldn't do. There's some mistakes that we shouldn't make, but something of some sort is going to happen. And to lean into it with curiosity, and if we're coming from a position of humility, like, I contributed to this somehow, I'm part of whatever process is unfolding, and I'm curious about what's happening, and I think understanding this will help. If my patient and I can work together to understand this will help both of us and help the process. So kind of thinking about that, and like, as we lean in like that, then what to do will come more easily, I think, more organically.